This is Valley News Live at noon.
We begin with breaking news. Former NDSU quarterback Carson Wentz has been traded to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, according to ESPN, the trade details state that the Eagles agreed to a trade in exchange for a 2021 third-round pick and a conditional 2022 second-round pick that could turn into a first-round pick. Now, the Eagles drafted Wentz with the second overall pick in the 2016 NFL Draft. Well, two people are in jail following a high-speed police chase where speeds reached 100 miles per hour before getting stuck in a ditch. Now, the Clay County Sheriff's Department says it started around 12:30 this morning along 15th Street Northwest near Cragneys, Minnesota, when a deputy tried to stop a vehicle, but it took off. Authorities say the chase finally ended when the car got stuck in the ditch. Deputies arrested the driver, 19-year-old Braden Muck, for fleeing police and underage drinking and driving. The passenger, 20-year-old Gustavo Garcia Anguianato, was arrested on an outstanding warrant out of Norman County, Minnesota. We're finally getting the warm-up we've been asking for, but how long or how warm are we actually getting? Let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green.
Good afternoon. Those temperatures are starting to rise more and more. We're currently in the teens in some places in the south and west. Jamestown is at 11 degrees. It's 12 in Gwinner. We're at 15 in Sisseton. Fargo right at 7 right now, and it's 12 at the moment in Grand Forks. So really starting to see those temperatures climb. We're all above the 0-degree mark here today. Some of us a little more into the single digits, a little cooler up in the north and east, but overall everybody's looking better here as we're kicking off our afternoon, and we'll continue that rise for today. Now, there are some areas that have mostly cloudy skies here as we're taking a look at your satellite picture, a view of your visible satellite picture, so you can see make out the outlines of Red and Upper Red Lake and Lower Red Lake. They're covered in snow and ice. So that means that we've got some clear skies up in the Beltrami County area. So not everybody's under clouds, but there are a lot of us, and some of those clouds producing some flurries, including right here in Fargo. You can see some of them moving by the camera there, and just that general lowering. Normally we could see downtown pretty well from this vantage point on our Valley News Live First Alert Skycam, and it's tough to make out there because of the flakes. Here's a look at our conditions as we head into the afternoon. Expect more opportunities or potential for some flurries out there. Temperatures will go up a little more into the low teens for more parts of the valley, and we're going to stay more on the cloudy side, I think, in Fargo. Again, some places seeing a little more sunshine out there today. The warming trend just continues from here. We'll have details on that in just a couple of minutes.
Also, make sure you're being careful on the roadways as well, and we'll check back with you in a minute, Lisa. Thank you. Well, families in South Moorhead are fighting an uphill battle after a water main break creates major mess. Firefighters and city streets crews scrambled to a huge water main break around 11 last night in the 1000 block of 18.5 Street South. That's in the Ramkey Park neighborhood, south of the MSUM campus. The water main ruptured in the middle of the street and quickly swamped the block with water. You can see the water bubbling up in the middle of the road. Utility workers spent much of the night cleaning up and making repairs. We've seen a number of similar breaks during our cold spell, but this is probably the worst so far. And with all that water freezing, drivers will need to keep an eye out for slipperier than usual conditions. They say cold weather was a likely cause. The North Dakota Fire Marshal was looking into a fire that destroyed a large shop in the Southern Valley. Now, it happened yesterday afternoon around 3 in Christine, which is in Richland County. The sheriff's office says a 30 by 50 feet shop went up in flames, but there's no cause determined yet. No one was hurt. Grand Forks Fire Department is investigating the cause of a fire that caused around $50,000 of damage to a Grand Forks home. The call came in around 2:05 this morning from the 5600 block of East Prairie Wood Drive. Fire crews arrived on scene to find smoke coming out of the two-story home. The fire was coming from the attached garage where it was contained and put out. There was no reported injuries to the occupant or fire service. Well, thousands of U.S. service members are saying no to COVID vaccines. Some Army units say they are seeing as few as 1/3 of its members are agreeing to getting vaccinated, but leaders believe upcoming deployments could be the reason for refusal. The decline is worrisome because troops often live, work, and fight closely together, where social distancing and wearing masks at times can be difficult. The resistance also comes as troops are being deployed to vaccination sites across the country. To stay on top of the latest vaccine news, browse through our VNL vaccine tracker. Just open up your phone camera and point it at the QR code on your screen. Then tap the link that pops up. We also have the link on our homepage. Millions of people are working from home because of the pandemic. The good news is they don't have to commute anymore, but that can actually be a bad thing in some cases. Nichelle Medina explains.
Danielle Parada's morning commute starts like many. She leaves her house and stops off for a cup of coffee or tea. Woohoo! The educator and tutor then heads to her job, but not at a school. She actually goes right back home for another day of working remotely.
I'm doing it online at home using Zoom. So still doing a lot of the things I was doing before, but now through a computer screen. And I feel like being in the house all the time, there were days that would go by that I was just like, wow, I haven't left the house in 5 days.
So once a week, Parada does what's known as a fake commute.
It separates my home and my work.
And she's not alone.
Research shows that this idea of segmentation, so keeping work and home life separate, tends to have some beneficial effects for work-life balance.
Kristen Shockley is an associate professor of psychology and says the fake commute can help people clear their head, and it doesn't have to be a drive.
It sounds like fake commuting can really help your mental health, but your physical health as well.
Yeah, that's one really nice thing. If you're able to do something like walking around the block, you're going to get the benefits that come from both being outside and getting that activity in.
Parada will often include a walk in her fake commute.
It makes me feel like I'm going somewhere, even though I'm just coming back home.
And that makes it a little easier to get through the workday. Nichelle Medina, CBS News, San Diego.
First-time claims for unemployment jumped to a new 4-week high. 861,000 Americans filed for first-time unemployment benefits last week. That is higher than analysts' expectations of 773,000. Continuing claims, or the number of people receiving benefits for 2 or more weeks, dropped to just under 4.5 million. This comes as applications for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program rose by more than 174,000, up to more than 516,000. A Minnesota shelter is stepping in to save some pups from the winter weather down south. More than 70 dogs and 1 cat arrived at Underdog Rescue in St. Louis Park last night. They came in from a southern Texas shelter that was overcrowded and didn't have heat. When the cold temperatures hit, the shelter's pipes froze, leaving the animals without running water. Volunteers drove 1,300 miles to get them. The animals will stay with foster families tonight until they're ready to be adopted. And don't forget, the Bisons will take on Youngstown State on Sunday for the first game of the spring season. The Farmers Union Insurance pregame show starts at 1:30, taking you all the way up to the kickoff at 2:30. You can catch all the action on KVLY. Well, coming up at noon is the pandemic driving you to drink. More on that in just a few minutes. And the weather feeling better now than it has been the last few days. And we have weather up next to plan your day with meteorologist Lisa Green.